Julish!
Hi guys, this is Julie from Let's Bite English Newspaper Together. 안녕하세요, 줄리스 영자신문 씹어먹기의 줄리입니다. 오늘은 워싱턴 포스트에 Russia's ruling party proposes path for Putin to stay in power past 2024 라는 제목의 기사문을 함께 살펴볼 텐데요. 여러분, 세계 정상들 중에 카리스마 하면 러시아 푸틴 대통령이 떠오르는데요. 푸간즈라는 별명처럼 인터넷에 멋있는 사진으로도 유명하고요. 또 푸틴은 오랜 기간 동안 러시아 대통령직을 수행하고 있는 걸로도 유명합니다. 그런데 최근에 대통령 임기를 또 늘리려는 움직임이 포착되고 있는데요. 기사문을 통해서 보다 자세한 내용 살펴보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 먼저 키워드 먼저 살펴볼 텐데요. expire, 만료되다, amendment, 법 등의 개정, presidential, 대통령의 sweeping, 전면적인, applause, 박수. 자, 영영 단어 이어 살펴보실 텐데요. expire, to end or stop being in use. amendment, a change or addition to the U.S. Constitution. presidential, relating to, belonging to, or done by a president. sweeping, having great effect or range. applause, the action or sound made by a number of people clapping their hands repeatedly. 자, 이번에는요, 기사문 눈으로 쭉 보면서 귀로 들어보는 시간 가져볼 텐데요. 자, 여러분, 들을 준비 되셨나요? Ready, set, go! Russia's parliament offered a past Tuesday for President Vladimir Putin to stay in power for an additional 12 years after his term expires in 2024, approving an amendment that would reset his presidential terms. The plan, floated and supported by Putin's United Russia party, is part of a sweeping rewrite of Russia's constitution that many view as a way for Putin to retain control of Russia well into the next decade. The term limit proposal was met with applause when it was introduced by State Duma Deputy Valentina Tereshkova, beloved nationally as the first woman in space. The plan would reset the current term limits to 0, meaning Putin could run twice more for the presidency once a restructured constitution is adopted. 자, 이번에는요, 여러분과 제가 함께 호흡을 맞춰서 천천히 읽어볼 텐데요. 자, 여러분, 읽을 준비 되셨나요? Ready, set, go! Russia's parliament offered a path Tuesday for President Vladimir Putin to stay in power for an additional 12 years after his term expires in 2024, approving an amendment that would reset his presidential terms. The plan, floated and supported by Putin's United Russia party, is part of a sweeping rewrite of Russia's constitution that many view as a way for Putin to retain control of Russia well into the next decade. The term limit proposal was met with applause when it was introduced by State Duma Deputy Valentina Tereshkova, beloved nationally as the first woman in space. The plan would reset the current term limits to 0, meaning Putin could run twice more for the presidency once a restructured constitution is adopted. 자, 이번에는요, 한 문장 끊어서 함께 직독직해 해볼 텐데요. Russia's parliament offered. 러시아의회는 제공했다. A path Tuesday. 화요일의 길을. For President Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin 대통령이 to stay in power. 권력을 유지하는. For an additional 12 years. 추가 12년 동안. After his term expires in 2024. 2024년 그의 임기 만료된 후에. Approving an amendment, 법 개정을 동의하면서 that will reset his presidential terms, 그의 대통령직 임기를 reset하는. The plan, 그 계획은 floated and supported, 제안되고 지원된 by Putin's United Russia party, 푸틴의 통합 러시아당에 의해서 as part of a sweeping rewrite, 전면적인 수정의 부분이다. Of Russia's constitution, 러시아 헌법에 that many view as a way, 많은 사람들이 뭐뭇의 방법으로서 보는 for Putin to retain control of Russia well. 푸틴이 러시아의 지배력을 잘 유지하는 into the next decade. 다음 10년 동안. The term limit proposal. 임기 제한 법안은 was met with applause. 박수를 받았다. When it was introduced. 그것이 도입되어졌을 때. By State Duma Deputy Valentina Tereshkova. 국가회의의원 발렌티나 테라시코바에 의해서 beloved nationally. 국가적으로 사랑받는 as the first woman in space. 첫 번째 여성 우주 비행사로서. The plan would reset. 그 계획은 reset한다. The current term limits to zero. 현재 임기 제한을 0으로. Meaning, 의미하는. Putin could run twice more for the presidency. 푸틴이 2번 더 대통령이 입후보할 수 있다고. Once a restructured constitution is adopted. 일단 개혁된 헌법이 채택되면. 이번에는요. 문장 만들기 해볼 거고요. 첫 번째 단어는 expire. My season ticket will expire this week. Amendment. The First Amendment guarantees freedom of expression. Presidential. In America, presidential elections are held every 4 years. Sweeping. They want to make sweeping changes to educational policies. Applause. His speech met with universal applause. 이번에는요, 문장 외우기 해볼 거고요. 첫 번째 문장은 러시아 의회는 제공했다. Russia's parliament offered. 화요일에 길을. Russia's parliament offered a path Tuesday. 블라디미르 푸틴 대통령이 Russia's parliament offered a path Tuesday for President Vladimir Putin. 권력을 유지하는. Russia's parliament offered a path Tuesday for President Vladimir Putin to stay in power. 추가 12년 동안. Russia's parliament offered a path Tuesday for President Vladimir Putin to stay in power for an additional 12 years. 2024년 그의 임기 만료된 후에 Russia's parliament offered a path Tuesday for President Vladimir Putin to stay in power for an additional 12 years after his term expires in 2024. 법 개정을 동의하면서 Russia's parliament offered a path Tuesday for President Vladimir Putin to stay in power for an additional 12 years after his term expires in 2024, approving an amendment. 그의 대통령직 임기를 리셋하는. Russia's parliament offered a path Tuesday for President Vladimir Putin to stay in power for an additional 12 years after his term expires in 2024, approving an amendment that would reset his presidential terms. Russia's parliament offered a path Tuesday for President Vladimir Putin to stay in power for an additional 12 years after his term expires in 2024, approving an amendment that would reset his presidential terms. 자, 두 번째 문장은요. 임기 제한 법안은 The term limit proposal. 박수를 받았다. The term limit proposal was met with applause. 그것이 도입되어졌을 때. The term limit proposal was met with applause when it was introduced. 국가회의의원 발렌티나 타라시코바에 의해서. The term limit proposal was met with applause when it was introduced by State Duma Deputy Valentina Tereshkova. 국가적으로 사랑받는. The term limit proposal was met with applause when it was introduced by State Duma Deputy Valentina Tereshkova, beloved nationally. 첫 번째 여성 우주 비행자로서. The term limit proposal was met with applause when it was introduced by State Duma Deputy Valentina Tereshkova, beloved nationally as the first woman in space. The term limit proposal was met with applause when it was introduced by State Duma Deputy Valentina Tereshkova, beloved nationally as the first woman in space. 자, 우리 마지막으로 기사문 짧게 요약한 요약본 함께 읽으면서 마치도록 할 텐데요. Russian lawmakers have approved the constitutional changes to allow Russian President Putin to remain in power past 2024. The term limit proposal was met with applause when it was introduced by the first woman in space, Valentina Tereshkova, now a State Duma deputy. 자, 여러분 오늘 하루도 너무 수고 많이 하셨고요. 자, 건강 모두 유의하시고요. 또 다음 시간에 새로운 기사문으로 찾아뵙도록 하겠습니다. And I will see you guys next time. Bye bye. Julish!